but it did happen. And it happened for a reason. Dreams are not noise. They are not the random static of a brain powering down. They are not meaningless electrical misfires that your pattern-seeking mind turns into stories by accident. What dreams actually are, what they do, why they exist, and what they have been trying to tell you your entire life is one of the most profound and consistently misunderstood questions in all of human science and spiritual history. And once you understand it, you will never dismiss a dream the same way again. Last night, while your body lay completely still, your mind built an entire world. It populated that world with people you know and people you have never met. It constructed rooms that felt familiar but were not quite right. It gave you problems to solve that dissolved the moment you woke up. It made you feel terror or joy or a grief so specific and sharp that you carried it into the morning without knowing why. And then, in the space of a few seconds after waking, most of it was gone, erased, as if it had never happened. Start with what is actually happening in your brain when you dream. Every night, roughly 90 minutes after you fall asleep, your brain enters a state called REM sleep, rapid eye movement. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker at the University of California, Berkeley, has spent decades studying this state and describes it as one of the most neurologically extraordinary events in human biology. During REM, your prefrontal cortex, the rational, logical planning center of your brain, goes partially offline. At the same time, your amygdala, the emotional processing center, becomes hyperactive. More active, in fact, than it is during most of your waking life. Your brain is not resting during dreams. It is running an entirely different operating system, one that is ruled by emotion, image, symbol, and association, rather than logic, sequence, and language.
This is not an accident. This is a design. Think about what that combination actually produces. A brain with its rational filter lowered and its emotional processing turned all the way up. This is a brain that can make connections it would never allow during waking life. It can move freely between memories separated by decades. It can place your childhood home inside your current workplace. It can make a stranger's face carry the emotional weight of someone you loved and lost. It operates by the logic of metaphor rather than the logic of fact. And that is not a limitation. That is its function. Psychologist Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called the language of the unconscious, and argued that dreams are the primary way your deeper self communicates what your waking mind cannot or will not face directly. Jung believed the unconscious mind was not a lesser version of consciousness. It was older, wider, and in many ways wiser. It held everything your waking self had pushed aside, suppressed, ignored, or not yet found the language to express. And at night, when the rational guard comes down, it speaks in the only language it has: images, symbols, feelings that arrive without explanation. This is why the same dream keeps returning. The recurring dream is not a glitch. It is a message that has not yet been received. Consider the most universally reported dream experiences across human history: falling, being chased, arriving somewhere unprepared, losing teeth, flying. These images appear across cultures, across centuries, across every continent. The ancient Egyptians kept dream journals and employed professional dream interpreters as part of the royal court. The Greeks built entire temples dedicated to the practice of dream incubation, where the sick would sleep in sacred spaces, hoping to receive healing visions. Indigenous traditions across the Americas, Africa, and Australia have held for thousands of years that dreams are not internal events, but actual journeys, actual communications from forces larger than the individual self. Every major human civilization, independently, came to the same conclusion: that the dream world was a real world, that it deserved to be taken seriously.
Modern neuroscience, arriving from an entirely different direction, is beginning to agree. Matthew Walker's research shows that REM sleep is when your brain processes emotional memories in a way that waking experience cannot replicate. During dreaming, your brain replays emotional experiences but strips away the cortisol, the stress hormone that accompanied them. This means dreaming is literally a form of overnight therapy. You re-experience painful, frightening, or confusing events, but in a neurological environment where the sharp edge of the emotion is gradually softened. The memory is reprocessed. It becomes something you can carry without being destroyed by it. People who are prevented from dreaming consistently show heightened emotional reactivity, reduced ability to read social situations, and increased psychological fragility. Your dreams are not decorative. They are doing essential maintenance on the person you need to be tomorrow. But there is another layer, one that science is only beginning to map, and that ancient traditions have described for millennia. Dreams appear to have a problem-solving function that operates entirely outside conscious awareness. Researcher Deirdre Barrett at Harvard Medical School has studied what she calls the committee of sleep, a process by which the dreaming brain works on problems the waking mind has been unable to solve. Barrett collected case studies of scientists, artists, writers, and engineers who received solutions to problems in dreams that had resisted them for months or years. The chemist August Kekulé famously reported discovering the ring structure of benzene after dreaming of a snake biting its own tail. Paul McCartney heard the melody of Yesterday complete in a dream and spent days afterward convinced he must have heard it somewhere before, because surely he could not have simply dreamed it into existence. Elias Howe, struggling to design the first sewing machine, dreamed of warriors carrying spears with holes near the tips, which gave him the crucial insight that led to the lock-stitch needle. Your dreaming brain has access to information your waking mind does not. It can hold more variables simultaneously. It can ignore the hierarchies and assumptions your rational mind imposes on problems. It can see the solution that logic was blocking.
Now go deeper into the emotional content, because this is where dreams become most personal and most urgent. Pay attention to what you are feeling in a dream, not just what you are seeing. The images are the language. The feeling is the message. If you dream of being chased, the critical question is not who or what is chasing you. It is what you are running from in your waking life. What conversation are you avoiding? What decision have you been postponing? What truth have you refused to look at directly? The pursuer in the dream is almost never about an external threat. It is your own unlived experience, your own suppressed emotion, given a body and set in motion behind you. If you dream of a house, pay attention to the condition of the rooms. Psychologist James Hollis, building on the Jungian tradition, writes that houses in dreams most often represent the self. The rooms you explore are the parts of yourself you are examining. The locked doors are the parts you have not yet opened. The basement is the unconscious. The attic is memory. A house in disrepair is a self that has been neglected. A house.
If you dream of water, pay attention to its state. Still water and turbulent water are speaking entirely different languages. Deep, clear water and murky, rising water have almost nothing in common as symbols. Across virtually every spiritual and psychological tradition, water represents the emotional life, the unconscious, the feeling dimension of existence. What the water is doing in your dream is describing what your inner emotional world is doing right now, in terms your waking rational mind might be refusing to acknowledge. And if you dream of someone who has died, do not dismiss it as grief or wishful thinking.
Many traditions hold that these are genuine encounters. Whether or not that is literally true, what is certain is that the dead in your dreams almost always carry a message. They are appearing because something about them, something they represented to you, something unresolved between you, is still alive inside you and asking to be completed. What did they say? How did they look at you? What was left unspoken between you that even now, even in the dream, remained unspoken? The dreaming mind does not waste its imagery. Begin keeping a record. The practice of dream journaling, documented across traditions from ancient Mesopotamia to modern Jungian therapy, works because dreams operate in a language that fades almost immediately upon waking. The window between sleep and consciousness is narrow. Keep a notebook beside your bed. Write the moment you wake, before you check your phone, before you move, before you let the rational mind reassert its dominance and file the dream away as nothing. Write what you felt, not just what you saw. Write the atmosphere, the color, the emotional texture. Over time, patterns will emerge. Your unconscious mind is consistent. It returns to the same symbols, the same locations, the same unresolved themes until they are met. Dreams are not random. They are not decoration. They are not the nonsense your sleeping brain generates while your real self is elsewhere. Your real self is most fully present in the dream. It is the part of you that knows what you are avoiding. It knows what you need. It knows what you have not yet said, what you have not yet faced, what you have not yet allowed yourself to want. And every night, without fail, without judgment, without any requirement that you believe in it or understand it, it builds you a world. It fills that world with images drawn from the depths of everything you are, and it waits, with the patience of something very old and very certain, for you to pay attention. Last night, while your body lay completely still,